Summer Owens, and I am back with another edition of So What Success Stories. And today I have the privilege and the honor and the pleasure of interviewing somebody who I just posted for her birthday the other day. Somebody who smiles probably more than me. And you see she's smiling right now, and it is so genuine. It's so beautiful. Barbara Prescott. And Barbara serves on the National Alumni Association Board of Directors for the University of Memphis with me. And I'm trying to remember when and how we met, but I have had the honor of knowing Barbara for a few years, and her soul and her spirit just exudes, and I'm sure you can see it and you can feel it too. And I've always admired Barbara. And I think actually, as I'm saying it, it was probably when you received the Legends Award from the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis that I saw you and I said, that's somebody I want to know. And I'm so honored and privileged again that I do know Barbara. And now you'll get to know Barbara. So Barbara, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I will, Summer, but thank you for inviting me. And when I look at you, one of the great things about being 71 is that you meet younger people and you watch their progress, and it's just a pleasure and a joy. But anyway, I was a small town girl about 100 miles north of Memphis. Came to Memphis in 1968. That's a long time ago, to go to Memphis State, and got 2 degrees from Memphis State, one in education, which I used to teach at Carver and at Mitchell Road, taught English there. Then I got my master's in guidance and counseling. Thought I might want to be a psychiatrist, but at that time, women didn't do as much of those things. So I was a guidance counselor, and I was a counselor at Humes Middle School. And then I got my PhD from Florida State University, and had 2 children, had a private counseling practice part-time, worked with my husband in consulting because I've consulted with a lot of nonprofits, strategic planning, leadership training, those kinds of things. And really probably people know me more for volunteer work. I was elected to the Memphis City School Board 3 times, and then, served as the chair of the Transition Planning Commission when the school districts merged. I've been on the Board of Regents, those kinds of things. And that's really how I've given back to the community and used some of my, the passions that I have.
And talents and skills and this beautiful personality. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. And what I didn't mention before is that Barbara is retired now. So she's done a lot of work, but she's retired. And like she even said to me, sort of retire. And that's what people like you do, sort of retire.
True. That's true.
So I love it. And so, it's so interesting what you just said. Humes Elementary School is actually the first school that started using the curriculum that I developed, the literacy, life skills, and character education curriculum. It was the professional school counselor at Humes that really loved my curriculum and even saw the potential for it. So now it's taking a life of its own, but it started at Humes and the adolescent parenting program. So 5th graders and teen moms were the first ones who used it, but at Humes. And the other thing that you said that stood out for me, so I have 2 sisters who went to Florida State, and one actually got a PhD at Florida State. Well, she got all 3 of her degrees at Florida State.
I'll be darned. That's
yeah.
Small world.
It really, really is so good getting to know you better. So in this program, I tell what I call So What Success Stories. And that's people's success in spite of any obstacles that they face. And so I have what I call the So What Success system. And that's learning how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate your choices so that you can achieve So What Success. And again, that's success no matter what comes your way. And Barbara, I know you've had obstacles. I know you've had challenges, but you still have that beautiful smile. And you've definitely been a successful woman. First question for you is about overcoming obstacles. Share a few obstacles that you've had to overcome and how you've actually overcome those obstacles.
Okay. What I realize, Summer, is that I probably have lived your theory without knowing it. And when I think about obstacles, I really look at life as kind of like a maze. And if you go one way, certain things happen. If you go the other. but it's also an obstacle course. We all have things to overcome. I feel blessed. I can't remember any major thing, because I think though it's all how you think about it. When I think about an obstacle, it just is a point in life that you have to decide what you're going to do about it. I went to a very small high school, a county school that was still small. We didn't have foreign languages. We had the basics. We didn't have a guidance counselor. They
Oh,
do now. They've got great guidance counselors, but this was back in in the 60s. And so, I didn't have, it was a small town. There weren't as many cultural things, but I had a great family that taught me that I could do anything I wanted to do. Now, they really kind of thought, however, you probably will just get married and have children, but at least you knew you did. So I'm not thinking of huge obstacles that I had, but just points in my life where I had to plan around
sure.
having children. Where do I go to school? I remember thinking that I'd like to go to Rhodes, but we didn't have enough money to do that, and I didn't know how to do scholarships, and didn't have a counselor. But the state school, Memphis State, which which I was aware of, always gave scholarships to the valedictorian, which I happened to be.
You are the valedictorian. That's awesome.
I was. Now, my daughter would say that was probably because I only had a few people in my class, but I don't think that's true. But what I would give a shout out to our alma mater is, I don't think I would have learned a single solitary thing at Rhodes it was Southwestern at the time, that would have prepared me any better. That might have been a different place on the maze of life, but I don't think it would have prepared me any better. I think that, I feel very blessed to have been at what is now University of Memphis, and kind of launched my career from there.
I think that's awesome. And you know what? When I chose the University of Memphis too, and I actually wanted to go further away for school, but as you know, I was a mom. I was a teen mom, and so I felt like I was sort of settling by staying closer to home. The best for me, the best, most rewarding, best connections, because I wouldn't know you had I not gone to the University of Memphis, and so many other amazing people. And the University of Memphis has been beautiful and awesome for me.
Yeah.
And you know what? And even just with you sharing, major obstacles, I'm glad that you said that too, because it's all about perspective, right? So even some of the things that you may feel like weren't major obstacles, in someone else's mind probably are, or have been major obstacles, or kept them from pursuing what they want to do in life. And I really appreciate you sharing that. So the next part of the SOA success system is eliminating excuses. And so with the challenges, big or small, or with situations in life, we all can make excuses. We all can make excuses for why we don't pursue our dreams or our goals. Or what are some of the excuses that you've had to eliminate, or maybe some of the excuses that you made? But how have you gotten rid of some excuses in your life?
I'll tell you one right now, but I'm going to start in a different way. I think excuses are when you don't own the reason. There are always reasons that you don't do something. But when you make it an excuse, it's because you're not owning that reason.
I like that, Barbara. Yes.
That's my counseling background, I guess. You're just, you're saying that it's something outside of you that's causing something rather than owning it. So that, I'm kind of a no excuses person. You make your decisions and you go on. I do remember when I went to Florida for my doctorate, Allie and I, my husband of 42 years soon, had really started dating. We'd been dating for about a year, but I wanted to get my doctorate by age 30. I got it by age 31. And I don't know how I had that, but I had to, I remember now the day I went to his house and said, by the way, I'm going to leave for a year, and we were kind of getting serious at that time. But as he is now, always supportive of everything I want to do, he said, go. And so I could have made that an excuse. I could have said I didn't have the money. I had to work. I was by myself. I was just dating him. But it was something I wanted to do. And so I owned that as a possible reason for not going. And then when you do that, you can mitigate those reasons. You can
Yes.
figure out why not. Now, my big excuse right now, once in my life, my friend Laura Jo and I wrote a book. It was a nonfiction. The title of it was My Heart Got Married and I Didn't Know It.
And
And
I
we
read
got
it
it.
and I loved
Yeah.
it.
Well, good. We got it published. Well, I keep saying I would love to write a novel. I mean, I would just love to. But my excuse is I don't have any ideas. So I don't know if that's an excuse or a reason. But what I suspect is, when I really get ready to do that, I'll do it. And if I don't, I own it. But I think that excuses are really reasons that we don't own. That we don't take responsibility for. I said, now I've always said I'd like to write a novel. I wrote that it was a nonfiction because it was something I knew about. And my excuse is I don't have any ideas. I'd love to write a novel. Got the first sentence in my book, there were no fences. So that's an idea. But I'm going to own that as just maybe that's not going to be something I'm going to do. When I really want to do it, I'll eliminate that excuse because I really think excuses are just reasons that we aren't owning up to.
love it. I love it. That is so good. I've never heard it put that way, but I love it. And I'm a no excuses person too. So that's what So What is all about. It's like, whatever happens, say so what and keep it moving. So now what? How do you move forward? When you decide you want to write that novel, this is also the thing about excuses and overcoming obstacles too, is knowing the resources and pursuing the resources and getting the help that you need to eliminate that excuse. So if you decide to write that novel, I know a great writing coach.
Cool. All right. Sounds good.
I know a great writing coach.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
so the next part of the SOA success system is calculating choices. And you've kind of talked about some choices already. And let me go back real quick, give a shout out to Allie. And I'm glad you mentioned his name because he is another awesome alum of the University in Memphis. And looking at you and looking at your relationship, it's beautiful to witness from the outside, looking at the two of you and the happiness. And I love how you said he supports you in everything that you do. And that was all the way back when you were pursuing your PhD. And I see it still today. And so that's a beautiful thing. And so I just wanted to give him a little shout out, little shout out.
I'll tell him that it will please him.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is beautiful. And I'm happy that you have that. But the other part of the SOA success system is calculating choices. So you did allude to some of the choices that you've made. We can talk about some of the choices that you had to calculate to get to where you are.
Yeah, when I think about that, and I did kind of look at these questions, one of the choices I made right after I got my doctorate, I missed my graduation because I was like 8 months pregnant with our first child. And so I made the choice to not work full time. And that choice affected the rest of my life. I own it. Things might have been different. I might have made more money. I might have been a superintendent of schools. Who knows what? I might have been a senator. But I made that choice because I wanted to. I wanted, kind of like women say often, I kind of wanted it all. I wanted my profession. I wanted to be a mother. I wanted to be a wife. So I stayed home with my children and had a small private practice. I was doing counseling. Only one time did my second child daughter cry so hard that I had to have my client leave the office. But that was a hard choice for me because there was a time in my life I didn't even know if I wanted to have children. I really wanted to be a professional, but that was a choice, and I've never regretted it. I've been able to do all the things that I would want to do and serve and contribute in those ways. Another choice I made was really a very similar choice. I served on the school board for 3 terms. I didn't do it because I was always interested in politics, but I didn't do it to get into politics as a stepping stone. But during that time, we did a lot of lobbying the state legislature for educational issues. And there was a time when I thought, I might, and people would encourage me, people encouraged Allie to be mayor, but he never ran for that. But people would encourage me about the legislature. And I thought about it. But again, I made that choice. No, that's taking me away from home for that much time. So I chose other ways that I could be involved in policy, whether it was special education, especially educational policy, and continued to be involved through school board and through a little nonprofit that I ran for about 3 years. And just by writing my legislature, but that was a point that I made a calculated choice to not do something I might have enjoyed, but again, I've never regretted that choice. When you don't make excuses and you own the opportunity and you make your decision, then you're not as likely to regret something that you've done.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And you know what? I actually interviewed Reginald Clark, who is also an alum, and he's a former top Tiger, won one of the top Tiger awards. He said something I really like too. He said, when you make a decision, the choices become easy.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
and so you kind of alluded to that too. And it's so interesting, especially looking at you and where you are in life now, and how you look back on the decisions and the choices that you've made. I think that's beautiful, and I think that's really great that you shared too about really open and honestly about being a mom and being a mom and wanting to have it all, because as women, I'm one of those women who wanted to have it all as well, or want, because I'm still wanting. Not past tense. Not past tense. Let me correct that. But finding the right balance and learning, sort of what choices you need to make, and some things that you do have to let go, or where you put more focus, or when you put more focus on different things. And so you being a stay at home mom for the time, and still being able to achieve a lot of the things that you wanted to do later. I think that's beautiful. All right. So thank you, Barbara. So, okay. Now, when you learn how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices, I believe anyone can achieve so with success. When you can achieve those, or when you can overcome those obstacles, eliminate excuses, calculate choices, you can have anything you want. Nothing can stop you, in my opinion. You can be successful when you learn how to do those things. But how do you personally define success?
To me, Summer, success is feeling fulfilled, satisfied, and using your talents. I believe God gave all of us, every single individual, talents, some of us more than others. But to me, being successful is recognizing what those talents are, and whatever. I love your so what process and theory, but whatever happens on that obstacle course or that maze that we call life, use those talents and know that you have made a difference in the lives of others and the lives of your family, and just feel fulfilled yourself. To me, that's success, whether you're making a lot of money, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whether you have a job that really is just a job, but you do volunteer work. Success is using your talents to make a difference in the world that you're in.
I love it. That means you've been really, really successful.
Thank
I
you.
love it. I love it.
Thank you.
And here's my last question for you. And you kind of alluded to it, and maybe you have some different advice for somebody who wants to be successful, however they define success. But maybe they're running into some obstacles, or they have some challenges, or some mental blocks. And I think that might be good for you too, with your counseling background. What advice would you give to someone who wants to be successful? And that could be a student, it could be a young professional, it could be stay-at-home mom, it could be anybody. What advice would you offer?
Well, that is kind of a hard one. When you're a counselor, you try not to offer advice, but you really do. But two things, and then one final thing. I think you do need to know yourself and assess what those talents are, and try to do something that is your passion. And again, it may not be your profession. It may be your volunteer work. It might be your hobby. But if you know who you are and you pursue your passion, you're going to be successful. The other thing I would say, and thankfully you do this and help students do this all the time, when you think you're kind of negative and you think I can't do, or I can, this is in the way or whatever, I used to say to my clients all the time, can we think about that in a different way? And the truth of the matter is, any thought you have, you can think about it in a different way.
Oh, yes.
You can think about this traffic jam is going to make me late, or you can think about it as this is a time I can pray, or I can think, or I can make a plan, or make my to-do list. You always can change those thoughts. And when you change your thoughts, you change your feelings, you change your sense of power, and that leads to different behavior. So when you're stuck, think about it a different way. That'd be what I'd say.
Different behavior and then different outcomes too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Different outcomes. Thank you, Barbara. That was perfect. I really appreciate it. I love you so much. Thank you.
And I love you, Summer, and I'm very proud of everything you're doing.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you.